I was, what, 6 in 1990?
I wasn't even born yet. I was still
6 or
swimming
7.
around in a nutsack in 1990.
Jesus.
You got implanted in the 1990s.
That's true. That is true.
I was not. I was
in some pussy in the 90s.
I was 91 all the way.
Those were my formative years. That was,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was well into everything that was my end of my childhood into my tweener years and then teenage years.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
I graduated high school just slightly after the 90s ended.
Mm-hmm. Same.
2001.
2003 for me.
2008.
2010. And we're the same goddamn age.
What?
He skipped 2 grades.
I wish.
We're almost the same age. We have a very brief window where we are the same age.
17 days.
16 days.
Close enough.
We have 6 months, roughly.
Nice.
Yeah, my brother and I have like a year.
Yeah. 90s were crazy. So many big things happened.
It was definitely a memorable decade.
Oh,
It was that turning point in my mind, technology, but that's where I'm going to go with it anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of great tech came out in the 90s and a lot advanced in the 90s. I mean, that's really when home internet became a huge thing.
Right.
It was slow as fuck, but...
You've got mail.
Oh, AOL days.
Oh my god.
Somewhere in a landfill, there's pallets of AOL free CDs.
Yeah, it brought it, kind of out of this, known crazy, weird scientific thing into people's homes. And, it changed the game, Kids went from playing outside to, there's this game called Oregon Trail.
Fuck that game.
You
that
died of dysentery.
was already existing. No,
That was in school.
Kids went from playing Nintendo by themselves to yelling at other kids playing Xbox on the internet.
Was that in the 90s? I feel like that's a 2000s.
Was that
No.
later on?
No, I'm pretty sure that the Xbox was late 90s, I think.
But was Xbox Live a thing
Yeah,
yet?
that's the good thing, yeah.
But yes, and then the internet, just towards the end of my schooling in the 90s, they started making you look up things online and you had to cite your website references on your papers and things like that. And
MLA format.
going from looking everything up in encyclopedias and books to
Wikipedia,
learning
Googling
how
it.
to use those things. And that was long before that had even come into play. It's like, I don't know how to do this thing. I didn't have a home computer till the late thousands, but I knew people that did. And it was just, I was like, I'm never going to learn this thing. It's way too hard.
I rocked encyclopedias for a long time. I had a home computer. My first home computer, I think, had Windows 95 on it.
Yeah.
And it couldn't do shit. Didn't have internet. And I had a few floppy disk games.
Yeah.
I had a floppy disk game that I could never play because my computer sucked so bad. It was from Independence Day when the movie came out. If you bought an action figure, you got an Independence Day game with it. It came on a bright blue floppy, and I never got to play it. So I don't know what that game was about, and that pissed me off. And I got a computer later, an upgraded one, and I couldn't find the floppy anymore. I was like, no!
Bad panda.
But yeah, it was wild. I mean, the first set of internet was like 32K. and then when I got a 56K modem, I was like, dude, this is hauling ass.
We're in the fast lane now.
Went from car phones to cell phones.
Car phones were such a weird thing. I remember riding in a car that had a car phone. Like, that blew my mind.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you doing this? Because home phones were all wired back then.
Right.
I don't even think they
Yeah.
had cordless phones in the 90s, at least not in the beginning of the 90s. I feel like late 90s, maybe.
Late
Mid 90s to late 90s, because I remember when we were. Yeah, it's like I tracked that. Where was I living at the time?
They had it earlier. It was just back in the late 80s. It was the really fucking long antenna
10 of them.
ones.
My
Yeah.
grandma had one of those. That thing was
Yeah.
a brick.
You could
But I still
skewer
remember
person
rocking a
with it.
rotary phone in the 90s. Still,
yeah.
you know, push spin.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
But-
I want one of those so bad.
They don't work anymore.
Yeah.
They can't. But
Get one just for
if
show
you
and hang it on
thinking
the
back
wall.
now with where we're at in tech in terms of the car phone, so immediately in this day and age, my brain's like, okay, satellite. Nobody was launching satellites really back then.
Oh, no.
The tech and the money just wasn't there.
No.
So I'm like, how is this happening? But I feel that might be the entry zone of cell towers. Because, I mean, you were having
Yeah.
pocketable cell phones coming out around that era. So that would be my guess.
It was just transceivers.
Yeah.
You have probably some kind on the FM
Mm-hmm.
spectrum. I
Yeah,
think.
probably. Well, it goes along the same lines as like CB and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I remember we were driving in Riverside, and we were in a friend's car. Rich friend had a car phone and everything,
Right.
and he's like, "Here, why don't you call your grandma or something?" I'm like, "How?" And he gives me this car phone, and I'm like, "Okay." So I dial it, and I'm like, "Hello?" She's like, "Hi." I'm like, "It works." You know, I think I was like 6 or 7 years old
Yeah.
using a car phone. I'm like, this is some weird voodoo shit.
You got me thinking there now. I kind of want to figure out what kind of tech was that running on?
Yeah.
What frequencies were they using?
Of course,
have-
that's
Did they
where
have-
your brain goes.
Did they have cell towers? I mean, what kind of...
Well, they would have had to because the cell phone boom was
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
started at 1990 is when the cell
Motorola
phone
and
boom
Nokia.
happened.
Those, big old.
The big old
Big old
brick
gray
phones, the
brick.
Zach Morris phones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Remember beepers?
Oh,
Wow.
pagers.
Pagers.
I never
Beep,
had
beep,
one. I
beep,
never
beep.
learned how to use one.
My dad had one because he had to be reachable at all times.
I get the concept of beepers, but when I was a kid, I'm like, okay, so it tells you somebody called, but then you could also send word messages on some of them. I'm like, how the fuck do you do
It's
that?
like text
Right.
messaging.
Well, basically, yeah, but you're calling somebody, so did it transfer voice to text and then put it on the beeper? Or was it like a readable voicemail that you left? Like, how did that work?
DTMF.
I didn't know.
The digital tone, well, it'd be analog to digital. But
What, are you saying somebody's pushing the keys for a message?
yeah,
Maybe. I mean, that does
I've
make
never had to
sense.
send a page. I just know
No,
my dad got them
That
all
does
the
make
time.
sense because all the numbers
all the
had their
numerical
own
keys
tones
had their own tones.
Absolutely.
And each one of those tones corresponded with,
with a number.
and in order to get your different letters, you pressed it,
Could be. I only
If I remember
That's like
correctly,
ABC texting right there.
Basically,
T9.
yeah.
T9, you can just put in the numbers and it guesses what word. ABC,
Eventually.
if you
She
want
was
to
Yeah,
that-
the
see,
she was that
T9 wasn't.
she was the one that was under the desk at school, and she was just able to do it
oh yeah,
blind.
he and I both, we'd send each other
Good
texts in school.
night.
We know
But see,
where.
I didn't use T9. I had small enough phones that I knew the number combinations. I could do it one-handed, so I was just pressing the number keys. I eventually graduated to T9, and then I reverted back to single letter texting when I got my Samsung Juke because it was so tiny. I was like,
Oh, I remember the juke.
I
was
loved
like,
that phone.
What?
I had the
He had a red
Samsung
one and I had a
Gravity
blue one.
slide out keyboard.
mhm.
A sidekick.
Yeah.
Everyone that had a sidekick, they made you know that they had.
Oh.
It's like vegans
I
now.
loved
If
it.
they had a
I
sidekick, you
loved it.
knew about
Yeah,
it,
it
whether
was
you
totally a
asked or
status
not.
symbol.
But beepers, though,
Yeah.
just a crazy concept. We're great,
Right.
but there were just things about it that I didn't understand. My dad had a beeper. You know, obviously by time I was at an age where I would have needed something of like that, beepers were dead.
Oh yeah.
And I
Yeah.
feel like that phase died quick
It did.
because the cell phone
it did.
boom.
Because
Yeah.
of the cell phone boom, yeah. But the beeper was easily evolved into the cell phone.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know,
You
you're
pretty
just
much already had
taking the
texting.
same system, just adding extra stops,
Yeah, I mean, all
Audio.
tech evolves from other tech.
right? You know, and then somebody attaches this touch screen to a regular phone,
And then it becomes a Palm Pilot.
and then it becomes the Palm Pilot and the BlackBerry, and then all of a sudden the iPhone, and
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know,
iPhone 12,
we're a slave.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Palm Pilots were dope, though. I had a Palm Pilot, and I honestly feel like Palm Pilots do a better job of keeping a schedule than any app or phone out there now. Because you could map, all your stuff in a Google Calendar
right.
or like Todoist or other systems like that. But honestly, that was the Palm Pilot's intended design, was to keep your schedule, and it did just that.
You
and
have
it was
one
flawless.
job.
That's it.
One job.
And it did it well.
And depending on your level of Palm Pilot, you
A
could get the
master
ones
of
that
one.
was running Windows and install Word and do all that stuff from there.
Damn.
They were great, but it's amazing that how well those function, how many people use those in business, and we transition over to these cell phones and they keep a schedule like shit. That's just my opinion, because I use many different tools to try and keep a schedule, and it's like, why can't I just have one?
You're going to understand this one. So I have 2 separate email addresses,
Yep.
2 separate email accounts on 2 separate laptops,
Mm-hmm.
because each organization uses their own type of security. I cannot forward one email to the other because I thought about setting up an auto forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, won't allow the macro,
Of course.
right? Because security. And I can't go the other direction because of security.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm forced to keep 2 separate schedules on 2 separate versions of Outlook on 2 separate laptops.
That's a pain.
It's an absolute nightmare. And I think that's where the kind of headache started to form.
Is when people start siloing tech use and increasing security, which in this day and age we absolutely need. But in the 90s, nobody really knew much about security because this was all new. They didn't know what was out there, what people
Cyber
could
crimes
do.
were still being invented.
Yeah, I mean, there was plenty of crimes before the 90s, with like Captain Crunch and the blue boxes, getting free phone calls and all that stuff. I mean, that was way before the 90s. Yeah, there's this guy called Captain Crunch, and he'd build these things called blue boxes.
See, I'm thinking cereal.
Well, that's how he actually got the name.
Yeah.
So,
Well, yeah, that's why it's Captain Crunch Blue Box. I saw the box.
well, no. So in boxes of Captain Crunch, it used to come with this little whistle. And this whistle you could manipulate to make the tones of the number presses. So if you were
this
good
sounds
with
like
it,
hackers.
it
Kind of is, yeah. War games.
Yeah, well, the movie.
But
It's
if
the
you got
same concept as those tones.
Yeah, if you got good at it, you could do the tones with that whistle and get free phone calls to anywhere in the world because you could do the long distance. And
Right.
once you figured out all of the key codes, you were good to go. Because all that it was back then was a bunch of people running switchboard panels. So if they received, a certain thing, they'd swap the switch. And then it got to where everything started becoming automated and it got harder, but you could still do it. And then eventually it went away. But so he created this blue box. You'd go up to the phone, put in $5 in change, record all the tones, and then you'd have it. So the next time you go make a call, you just, put how many ever in there and you're good to go.
Yep.
Wow.
Tech people,
That
man.
makes me think of the movie Hackers. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
See,
Right.
when
I
I
gotta watch it.
now I'm thinking just movies in general from the 90s. Some of the biggest movies. Thinking like Jurassic Park, Independence Day,
Independence Day.
Titanic.
Space Jam.
Like, yeah, I mean, the list goes on and on. Just those movies that even still today are almost like the gold standard. They're not like the 80s where you have things that were cult classics, but for their time.
I don't think there's anything that good.
There's a lot of things that are very,
There's
very
still some of the-
quotable.
They're still some of the highest grossing movies of all time for their time.
Yeah, but so in terms of cult classic, though, I know what defines a cult classic
Not so
film
much
and
cult
everything,
classic, but
definitely vintage and still
Yeah.
classic.
I mean, there are cult
Aged.
classics. Pulp Fiction came out in the 90s.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Fight Club.
Yeah, there's definitely cult classics in the 90s. That's not what
Yeah.
we're saying.
Right.
Is all these notable movies, they've left an imprint on people that went through the 90s and they can still recall.
mhm.
Rush Hour.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
Yeah.
love that movie.
But that was also a time where, so now we're getting, VHSs and,
Blockbuster,
yes.
Hastings.
You didn't just have to go out to the
We didn't
to the
have Hastings
cinema,
where
to
we're
the
from.
theaters. People are bringing
Mhm.
them into the homes.
You didn't have to have the high expensive cable either.
Mm-hmm.
All you had to do was have a VHS box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back-
VCR.
Then you could go to Blockbuster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Even the movie theaters, which probably back then people thought it was high price, but think about how much you're paying for movies now.
Oh,
and snacks
yeah.
now. And I know it was always more money. It's always going to be more money.
Right.
There's always a
But
markup.
even then, movie tickets back then were probably only a couple bucks.
Yeah, my
Back when
grandma would
the
take me and
Garland
my
was
brother.
actually $1.
Yeah.
Well, we have been around for 30 years like you.
Fuck you.
Well, and going to the movies for 30 years.
Yeah.
Other than that. I mean, my grandma used to take me and my brother to the movies all the time. We'd go to the Mission Grove Theater
Mm-hmm.
for, 3 tickets, matinee pricings. We go in the middle of the day. It was like $5
Mm-hmm.
because she got senior and we got kids, where we got I think
It was
our
dirt
tickets were
cheap.
like $2.
Mhm.
And then we would each get a kid's box where it had a little bit of popcorn, a drink, and a
Mhm.
candy,
Mhm.
and it was like a $3 box.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
$20 now.
Yeah.
you even look at the
Minimum.
popcorn, they're like,
Oh,
"That'll
yeah.
be $1, sir."
Right. No free smells here.
Right?
Nope.
But yeah, being able to pretty much go to any store and rent,
Mhm.
games and movies. I remember going to Albertsons and they had,
Yeah.
a rental
Oh,
movie
yeah.
area, and then you could start
I
renting
loved-
like Nintendo
loved that
64
place.
games
Oh, yeah.
and stuff. I'd go there every time we went grocery shopping and
Mhm.
swap games.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least at the Albertsons I went to, they didn't care how long you kept it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no.
You're just
You-
like,
You
whenever
checked
you're
it
done.
out for a flat fee, and then
Mhm.
whenever you brought it back,
Yeah.
you
That
didn't
was
have to
that.
pay
Oh,
anymore.
when the library started carrying
Oh, yes.
videos. Oh,
I didn't know that they did
Uh-huh,
that.
you could
So
check them
well.
out just like a book.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No
You
way.
could check out
Yep.
actual movies.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
because I had a library card, I didn't have to pay for it.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was.
But
that was
yeah,
a-
I used to
was
go
a
to that
really
very
cool
same
thing.
Albertsons, and that's
Mhm.
where I first played Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Fell in love with it. My mom would never buy it for me, but she would let me rent it. I'm like, Mom, you know this is going to cost you more in the long run, right? Because I never got sick of that movie
Mhm.
or sick of that game. I still would like to play it if I could find it somewhere. I mean, we've got the.
I got the retro pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have an N64.
I do.
Yeah, it's an
Nice.
N64 game.
Okay.
But I
And
mean-
you got the emulator.
I have a retro pie and I have a real 64.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He's got an Atari. He's
That
got
was
the
my
original
jam.
Super
Burger
Nintendo.
I have a regular Nintendo, Xbox,
Nice.
PS1, PS2, 3,
Nice.
4, 3 Xbox 360.
Yeah.
I've got.
We've
All of
got
them.
Guitar Hero on the original PS2.
Nice.
I've been wanting to go back and get some other ones. Like I've been looking at ColecoVisions. I used to have an
Oh, wow.
Odyssey 2.
Jesus.
Yeah, I could
Which
never
I
get
had
that
never
one to
heard
work.
of.
I got it for $5 at a yard sale.
Speaking of video games, the game graphics back then. Like when Final Fantasy VII
Oh,
came out, we
very
thought that was just
polygons.
badass.
Oh yeah,
Oh my
well, and it's
God.
like
Polygons galore.
revolutionary, graphics. Obviously,
Uh-huh.
first disc-based games for the PlayStation.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that wasn't a thing.
Multiple discs.
Multiple
Mhm.
discs, yeah. Final Fantasy VII was 3 discs, but one of the games that I played all the time, and I still play it, Gran Turismo. And those, I mean,
yes.
as polygon as it was, it looked pretty
Good.
damn good.
It was a fantastic game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's just where we came from on that.
Mhm.
And I mean, the graphics even before that were horrendous.
Yeah.
And people thought when they came out, it's like, holy
Oh,
shit,
it's in
I got
3D.
a white block fucking going back and forth between two paddles.
And I mean, going from these advancements in, home game graphics, then the Game Boy comes out.
I love, well,
Portable.
I didn't get the first Game Boy until after I got my Game Boy Color.
Same
But
with the
Game
green
Boys
screen.
were fucking amazing.
My
Mhm.
brother had a Game Boy Advanced, so he was even cooler because it flipped in half.
That was the SP,
Ah.
the Advance SP. I think the Advance came out before that. And
Okay,
then
well, all I
think
know
the
is it was
SP
red and it
might
folded in half.
not have been 90s.
And it had a
the
ho-oh
advanced, the
sticker on it.
It was
advanced
kind
was
of like
landscape.
square, and then
Yeah, it was kind of shaped like if a bat wing, like batarang,
Yeah.
that
oh,
Nerf.
it was shaped like Tom Brady's deflated football.
Yeah, it was or Tom Selleck's mustache.
No, his was like a little laptop. The
Yeah,
screen
that's
was
the
all
Advance
confused.
SP.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, no, but I had the good old fashioned straight up green screen.
Mhm.
Gray
The
brick.
Where you have to
Cartridge.
adjust the
Yes.
contrast on the
Yep.
side.
Yes.
And
No backlight.
Tetris
the cool
for hours.
the
Yes.
printer add-ons you could do, and then the
iCam.
plug-in light.
Mm-hmm.
The camera.
I remember having
Yes, the
that.
camera.
Yeah.
Gosh.
The plug-in lights were crazy,
Mhm.
because of course you're gonna play in the dark.
Oh yeah.
And
Because it's got no backlight.
Yeah,
You
it has
have
no
to.
backlight.
Yeah.
And those things were expensive too.
Mhm.
They knew what they had,
Oh, yeah.
and people loved them.
Oh yeah.
AA batteries for days.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
my
Oh, and if you
gosh.
lost that back cover, you better get some
Oh,
tape.
Yep.
Better get some
Duct
tape.
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 Yep. I don't know.
Or
how
that back
many-
cover gets broken.
Yes.
That was. Oh yeah.
You know, the latch is snapped or something.
You know, another handheld that's highly underrated, Neo Geos.
That's not
I
question mark,
I
question mark,
remember those, but no, I'd say the underrated handheld PSP.
Yeah, but that was in the 90s.
That
But
was a night.
I had a PSP and I love the PSP. Another great handheld was it the Sega Genesis? Or no, that
Game
was
Gear.
a Game Gear. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That thing was cool. I remember playing
Yeah.
Sonic on that.
Yeah.
And
Sonic and Street Fighter.
color screen and backlit. Like that thing was advanced for
And
its
it was
time.
it was chunky
big.
too.
Oh yeah.
It was chunky.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Like,
You want to know what handheld game I miss? Tamagotchis. We have two of them.
Yeah. We were feeling nostalgic and we found some re-released Tamagotchis and
Yep.
we got them $20
Yep.
a piece.
The world of virtual
Oh
pets.
my god, that
And
was in my
Digimon
entire
and-
6th grade,
Everybody
Yeah.
had one. Yep.
except for me.
Who had a Furby?
Me too. Oh,
I had a
Furbies.
Furby.
Oh
Nope.
my god,
I can't believe I
forgot about Furbies.
him.
You're
Nice
welcome.
bring to the table. I had quite a bit of Furbies.
See, I missed you last episode.
Yeah, I had quite a bit of Furbies.
They
I
were
had
so terrifying.
no way, but I had the generation you could make swear.
Oh gosh.
Oh
I
yeah,
had one of those too.
first gen. It looked
Okay.
like a damn gremlin. It was.
They were so creepy.
It was orange, black, and white.
Oh, I
and-
had
See, mine was black and
Oh,
white with like a
man.
fuzzy beard.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I had several because one
Mhm.
of
Like
my
a tuxedo kitty.
younger siblings was just completely enamored with them, wanted everything Furby. So she had like 7 or 8 of them, and I swear they were plotting to take over the
No,
household.
Beanie Babies.
I was just thinking
never
about
had
that.
a
because
Beanie
They
Baby.
came.
I had
Up
several.
They were
Around the
right
same
around
thing.
the same time as
Yeah.
Tamagotchis, and yeah, I'm not too ashamed to admit, like, I had a few.
I still have some.
I
had a
never
few.
had one.
My grandma had dresser drawers full of Beanie
Jesus.
Babies.
Because everyone thought they were going to be worth a mint when they were
Some
older.
of them are though.
They are.
Some of
They
them
are collectible.
Some of them are quite rare and they're worth something, but I would rather have Funko Pops.
Me too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got like 3 collections like in our cart for Amazon.
But yeah, gosh, those Tamagotchis. The thing is, I would get so busy with other things.
Mhm.
You'd forget to clean its poop.
I would forget to feed it. I was a horrible virtual pet mommy.
Well, and just think of so in the Beanie Baby craze and the Furby craze, how many collectible releases were in fast food places? I remember going to
Oh,
McDonald's
yeah.
just to go get the
Mhm.
Beanie Baby
Oh,
or just to
yeah.
go get the Furby.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was tons of collectible releases in
Hot
fast food
Wheels.
places in the
Mhm.
90s.
The specialized dishes, like when
Yup.
Disney would come
Mhm.
out with
Cups.
a new
Yep.
film, there was the cups and the plates.
Mhm.
I
and-
had all of the
his
Hercules
mom
plates.
has a bunch of the plates.
or you
Still
can save up
receipts
your
off them.
cereal box tops
Yes.
and mail them in for things. I did that with a Spider-Man. I ate like 12 boxes of this Spider-Man cereal because and it was just sugar upon sugar topped with sugar and
Oh,
marshmallows.
God.
Well, yeah,
It
that's what we
was
loved about it.
So bad. But I wanted this clear bowl.
Mhm.
And Mom's like, well, you got to eat the cereal. I'll buy it, but you got to eat it. And so I did.
It
and then
color
I lost
changes
the
with
bowl.
the milk.
Remember those
Something like
bowls
that.
that had the straw in it?
Oh,
Mhm.
We had like 7 of those.
I never trusted getting those things clean enough to drink out of ever again. I'm being honest.
Yeah, my brother and I were like 6. We didn't
You
care.
didn't You didn't care. No.
Did you clean it with soap? Well, I breathed in and out of it a couple times.
Right.
Good
I was
enough.
blowing bubbles with it.
Good enough.
There's so many collectibles in the 90s. I just
Oh,
remember
yeah.
the craze. You'd go and ask for specific ones, like, oh, we either can't give it to you or we're out. And like you try
It's
different
random.
ones. Yeah, it's random, my foot.
Yeah. It's whatever they had at
Yeah.
that.
I also
Time of the
miss
hour.
getting prizes in cereal. That went away.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
in the 90s. It was all the craze.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
But
what?
now it's dangerous and it's a choking hazard. It's the same reason we can't have the real Kinder
So now
eggs.
you get
Ah.
puzzles on the box.
Huh.
Yeah, because I
What
want to
6-year-old
solve
wants to
things.
do a crossword?
I want to read about maltodextrin.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're like households like mine, because there was so many of us, we had the boxes for such a short period of time, but then they just got dumped into plastic containers
Oh yeah.
because they stacked into the cabinet better. So we didn't even get
The
one of the
box.
puzzles on the boxes. Sad day.
We didn't get the boxes. We got the bags.
Yeah.
My mom used to buy Cocoa Puffs by the bag
Mhm.
because it was cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's hit and miss whether those are cheaper nowadays versus the box.
Right.
They're
Right.
expensive.
They are.
They're like $7 a bag. My mom would get a big old bag of Cocoa Puffs for like $2.50.
If you're getting the name brand, yes. But
Mhm.
usually the grocery stores sometimes will carry like a generic off-brand.
We go to Winco and even the off-brand is like $5 a bag.
Yeah, all the Winco bags that they carry are off-brand, and
Yeah.
they are expensive.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't buy on-brand anything really
Yeah.
Trying to think.
because the off-brand stuff's just as good.
Huh.
I mean, there are cereals that had vanished from the 90s that I miss, like Cocoa Krispies.
Remember the
Yeah.
Oreo O's?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those were good
Those were
too.
delicious.
Mhm. I don't know.
Some
Or
of my favorites.
what was it the bear? They were like Honey Smacks or
Yep.
Sugar Smacks.
So there was...
Honeycombs?
No.
No,
There
not
was a
Crisp.
bear. They're Golden Crisp.
Golden Crisp.
Golden Crisp. The Sugar Smacks is Dig 'em the Frog.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still make those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Golden
Mhm.
Crisp is
never
basically
really
the
liked
same
those.
thing.
They were
They're
similar.
delicious.
That's why I was
Yeah.
like, what was it again? But yeah, I don't
Basically little tiny graham cracker bears
Yeah.
Well, and then
with
you
honey
know,
flavor.
remember when Captain
I
Crunch was just Captain Crunch?
Right?
Yep. No crunch
berries.
berries or
No
anything
berries,
like that.
and now they just have the berries.
Right.
It's like
And then there's wild
go
berries.
When Lucky Charms was just,
heart stars and horseshoes.
yeah.
Clovers and balloons. Pots of golden rainbows and the red balloons.
Yeah, but it wasn't always.
now
the
there's
case.
unicorns and
Right.
something
We
else.
actually did some research on this because we were trying to think of the original marshmallows and Lucky Charms, and boy, has it evolved over the years.
horseshoes.
because I had got some
stars,
Lucky Charms. 'Cause-
Diamonds.
The
Yeah, they've got
diamonds.
diamonds now.
It was basically like
Those
the four
5.
suits, the symbols for the 4 suits,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
and like horseshoe.
Yeah,
Mm.
that was it. There was 5, and then there were the basic colors. You had your pink, green,
Yellow.
purple, blue, and yellow.
Yeah.
They all tasted the same.
They're all marshmallow.
They're all marshmallows.
I made some Lucky Charms Rice Krispies for
Mm.
St. Patrick's Day, so I went and bought some Lucky Charms, and I'm pouring them into the bowl, pre-mixing and everything, and I'm like, none of these look familiar. I mean, some of them do. I mean, the rainbow was still
Mhm.
there. It still had the red balloons and the moon, and I'm like, when did they start having unicorns? I don't remember that.
Right.
They still make alphabet cereal.
Alphabets.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
That was one of my favorite.
Was
Alphabets
it? It was
is
like
good.
an apple cinnamon type flavor.
That's
No,
Apple
no.
Jacks.
Yeah, that's Apple
Oh,
Jacks. No,
man, I haven't had
Alphabets
Apple
was
Jacks
just-
in so
it was
long.
just like
It was just
sugar
letters.
frosted, kind of like
Mhm.
like frosted Cheerios,
basically,
yeah,
yeah.
but letter
but
shaped.
letter shaped.
Yeah, that was
it was
my
the
favorite,
alphabet
but
soup of the breakfast world.
I would be curious to see if they actually had the letter O in that.
Yeah, it was a Cheerio.
They joined forces
Because
Yes,
I mean,
they did.
would it technically be property
No,
right?
see, it wasn't a perfect
infringement?
circle though.
Yeah.
It was an oval.
Okay.
Kind of like a zero.
A revolutionary cereal that I'm pretty sure came out in the 90s. Reese's Puffs.
Ooh,
Yes.
yeah.
I remember those commercials, very
Oof.
basketball oriented, sports
Yep.
oriented, but man, those were delicious. Like I eat a
Oh,
bowl of
man.
Reese's Puffs for breakfast, and then you like
No.
dunking and shooting threes.
Well,
Wheaties
see-
boxes.
Oh yeah,
Talk
still-
about
Oh,
collectibles.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Athletes
something
on
that.
them. Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, seeing, thinking about the cereals and the toys and everything, it's like, when did we get exposed to most of this? During our 90s TV shows, our 90s
Mm.
cartoons.
Yes.
'Cause
Commercials.
When are they going? I mean, they still have commercials nowadays, but it's like,
not when
I
you
just
pay for all the
remember-
services.
you're watching Nickelodeon
Mhm.
and all these things. It's just toy, cereal, toy, cereal, toy. Have
Buy
your
me,
parents
buy
buy it.
me.
Yes,
Yep. Mhm.
yes, constant.
You need this.
Yes, and if you don't have it, you're a loser. And everyone
That's
will tell you
basically
that.
what I got out
Truth.
of every Capri Sun
Every-
commercial. Because we couldn't afford Capri Suns.
Right.
So we always got, whatever off-brand ones, which were delicious, but every Capri Sun commercial was like, you'd be the cool kid if you had this fucking silver pouch.
Kool-Aid bursts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Yeah.
the Kool-Aids that you could get and they came with a little pellet that would change the
Yep.
color and
Yep.
flavor?
I never
Yeah.
had
Those were awesome. I can only get those from my grandma because she had money.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, cartoons, in amongst these commercials that made us feel like we had to bug our parents every 20 seconds.
For everything.
That's why
For
we all
all the-
have fucking ADD and shit. It's like, blindy, look at this, check this out.
And Animaniacs didn't help that.
Not at
Oh
all.
my gosh.
Good idea. Bad idea.
And no wonder our generation has anger problems, everything else. We were watching Tom and Jerry,
Looney
Truth.
Tunes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Yep.
Roadrunner and the Coyote.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you had the more. This is when things kind of took a turn to be a little bit more, less Looney Tunes, a little more graphic, because then you had Ren and Stimpy,
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
and that was to me kind of a turning point for
Mhm.
cartoons and entertainment because it led to.
Was that
a new
about when
genre.
Happy Tree Friends came out?
No,
I
think
Happy Tree Friends was
much later.
Thousands.
Much later,
Yeah.
but still, it kind of paved
It
the way.
fed into it because
for that
from
type of
Ren and
cartoon.
Stimpy, you also started getting, and I think this also maybe fed into Ren and Stimpy, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
But I
Itchy and
feel
scratchy.
always though.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, definitely itchy and scratchy. But I feel like The Simpsons has always been more of a wholesome show. I mean, I've watched all the
kinda
old
started
ones.
It
out that
pushed
way.
the barrier enough to where the comfort zone of the public.
You might not let your kids watch it by themselves.
It was still family to a point.
Mhm.
It was
And
it was
then it took
definitely
that-
secular family.
Yeah.
Okay, but 100% though, Ren and Stimpy.
That was not for
like the
kids.
original adult cartoon. It just-
Beavis
all
and
the
Butthead.
subtle. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the subtle things though, like that log episode
Yeah.
of Ren and Stimpy. They're talking about dick.
And they were
100%.
they were cartoons, so cartoons, kids.
Yeah,
It had
Oh, yeah.
really
Yeah,
Hit
it
that-
doesn't register.
cartoons are for
wait,
kids.
yeah.
Of course they are.
Saturday
But yeah,
morning cartoons.
you gotta look up the log
song.
Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Thank you
mama.
very much.
Definitely one of my favorites.
Definitely a
That's when I got into
bad-
Greasers, I think.
Cartoons.
Logs and-
Captain Planet, he's a hero.
That was 80s. Captain Planet was in
Captain
the 80s.
Planet. I
No,
was
he
still in the
wasn't.
90s too.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
He came in the
I grew
90s.
up on
I
Captain
just
Planet.
remember
Oh, yeah.
being in elementary school and I had a Captain Planet lunchbox, and that was in the late 80s.
If it was on PBS, I was allowed to watch it.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Mm.
Oh.
Bill. I love Bill.
I don't know anybody that doesn't, honestly. You don't even have to really like science. And anybody that doesn't like Bill Nye, that's one of those indicators.
Mhm.
You're just not worth my time.
That's a big
Probably
red
have no
flag.
soul.
That's
Yep.
a big red flag for
Yep.
me,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You don't like Bill Nye, you're not worth getting to know.
Wishbone.
Yeah, I had so many Wishbone
Mhm.
books. Or Captain Underpants,
Captain Underpants.
Goosebumps.
Ghost
Oh,
Riders.
yes.
Which one?
Ghost Riders.
Oh, yes.
I don't know that one.
Yeah.
I think I remember hearing
It was
about
it was one
but
of those like PBS public access shows.
Remember Shel Silverstein?
Yeah.
I do.
Scholastic book fairs where you
Oh.
bought shit you didn't need. Lamborghini posters.
Mhm.
Giant pencils.
Yep.
I
And then you would definitely try to write with it.
I
Mhm.
just remember buying books at the book fair because it was
Mm-hmm.
the only time I ever got to buy books. You know, like I was a big reader, and
Mm-hmm.
you know the library was great and everything at school, but you only got to go once a week and get a
Mhm.
book. But I could actually have a book that I could read over and over and over again.
Mhm.
You don't have to worry about a due date.
You know, oh, it was great. Oh, good times. Fond memories.
Remember Married with Children?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
He rewatches it regularly.
Mhm.
That was that. I'm supposed to be in bed, but I finally got a TV in my bedroom, so I'm gonna keep it on super low volume, stay up late and watch it.
I had a TV in my room. It never worked because it was old school rabbit ears. Could
Mhm.
never get reception
Mhm.
right. So I had a TV for nothing because I didn't have like a VHS.
It was just for
or anything.
shows?
It literally was a show. It was a Christmas present for my grandparents, and I was like, "Cool, I got a TV." Useless.
I had a black and white one that was rabbit ears, and then I saved up. I babysat all summer in '95, all summer, every day. I got over there at 7 a.m. and I was there till 5 p.m. Saved up as much money as I could, and I bought myself a little 12-inch color.
Ooh.
and it was like the greatest thing ever.
It was life
So
changing.
exciting.
Dude,
'Cause-
tube TVs. Those things were so damn heavy.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
I think my dad still has a 32-inch tube TV in the
Oh.
garage. I remember having to help move that. I'm like, dude.
Is that the one that we scraped the
unnecessary.
wall with, or was that your TV?
No, that was my TV.
Yeah.
That's so unnecessary.
Well, that's what
mean,
you had in the
yeah.
90s. Like, that was...
That was a big
Mhm.
screen.
That
It
was
was
a
a
big
status
screen. Oh, yeah.
symbol.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But you get magnets close to it, the fucking lines come up, starts getting green, and...
Man. Why would I
Magnet-
pour water down the back of
Pretty
it?
sure a
Yep.
magnet could destroy just about every piece of technology in the 90s.
Absolutely. I remember hooking up the Super Nintendo, had to go through coax, had to be on channel 3 or 4, depending
Yeah.
on which one you
Yes.
Channel
selected.
3.
Because you didn't really have RCA connectors
Nope.
back then. You had to buy a special adapter for the play, or not the PlayStation, the Nintendo and Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember like, oh, I'm gonna play Super Nintendo, so I'd have to move the entertainment center, get back
Yeah.
there, put the coax,
Uh-huh.
play
Yeah.
it. Okay, now I want to play this, and I gotta
Yep.
do it again.
Yeah.
And then some of the third party companies came out with like specific like power strips
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
that were already.
Dude, those things were massive.
Oh yeah,
A 5-pound brick.
but it had like a little switch on it, so you could switch between your game systems.
That was a
The
game
original
changer.
KVM switch, except for power.
Yep. You had the button ones. You had A and you had B,
Yep.
depending on which one. It's like VCR, game system.
Yep.
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 VCR, game system.
I remember when having inputs on a TV was revolutionary. You're pushing the
right.
button a few times, like I gotta change to the right one.
Nope.
It's like what?
You went too far. You got to go back around.
Yep. Yep. No way to go
There's no
back.
Couldn't go backwards.
And then you had the red cable, and the white cable,
And the yellow
and the
cable
yellow cable.
for video.
Oh yeah.
Not when you had an OG Nintendo. You had
Yep.
red and white because it
Yep.
was audio only.
That's why I said when they threw that yellow
Yeah.
one on there, we're like,
What's this one for?
My
does-
TV
where the
doesn't have
fuck
this input.
does this go?
Extra color must be important.
There's no receptacle for this penis.
Find one.
Yeah, you just put it in the red.
Pretty much. Oh yeah.
Put it in the red and the white, and it makes it the pink.
I
don't
think
think that's how that
Get
works.
out.
I
Yeah.
think that's where 90s chicks learn to give real good head. It was blowing cartridges.
Oh, absolutely.
You knew she was a
Absolutely.
keeper when she was able to pucker up.
They could get it on the first try.
Yep.
Set it in there nice. Turn it
Yeah.
on.
You know, you got to just slightly move it just the right way. A little jiggle here, a little
Oh,
jiggle
yeah.
there.
You know who else was a great role model for girls in the 90s?
Hmm.
Monica Lewinsky.
Yes, indeed.
Presidential scandal. Didn't even
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
What else
More
did
than
he
once.
do? He didn't inhale, right?
Ah,
No.
No.
Mm.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
him.
Yep.
yeah,
He didn't inhale.
that was a
That's right.
college thing because I remember
That's
it was the old pictures of him and Hillary in the 70s.
Who the fuck cares? People
Right.
fuck.
In the
People get
90s?
sucked.
People cared.
It was
That's
the
true.
70s.
It was a bit tighter.
Al and
That-
Tipper Gore.
Tipper Gore. Yeah.
Oh,
That
they were
fucking
trying
guy.
to destroy everything good in the world. Anything that was fun.
Mothers against drunk driving. Mothers against
Mad. Yep.
Mothers against mothers against mothers against
Others against music.
mothers against mothers.
Them damn mams.
No, ma'am.
Oh yeah.
Handmaidens.
There were a lot of culture defining moments in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like you said, the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky scandal, the fall of the Berlin Wall,
Mhm. Mhm.
Ah, that was in the 90s.
the Rodney King riots.
See, when I started thinking about things like that, Oklahoma City,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
that was one that I remember getting up, watching
There's
the
a
news.
big day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Blew up the
Manifesto
Oklahoma
and
City
everything.
bombing and
Mhm.
retaliation to Waco, which was
Mhm.
also in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he brought that up earlier.
Yeah. That's
Before
a
we started
whole
recording.
lot of kettle of
Yeah,
fish. So we're not
yeah.
going to get
Oh,
going down
yeah.
that road.
Unpack a lot of stuff there.
That's a podcast for me for another day. I can talk about that stuff. Hours. I mean,
with all the conflict that was going on with the fall of the Berlin Wall and everything, the world's first televised war.
Desert Storm.
Desert Storm.
And then there's the Napster lawsuit. Thanks a lot, Lars.
But you know what though? Napster opened up a world. It opened up a
Holy
world of
Hannah.
file sharing,
They got
illegal
that
or
snowball
not.
rolling.
Truth.
But I mean, yeah, he did it wrong. Napster could have been great. It would have been the first, like iTunes essentially. That's really what it was, except you were doing illegal things with it.
Yeah.
It was LimeWire.
Without the AIDS.
I
Torrent.
used
Yeah, 'cause
LimeWire. I never
Napster, that
used
was all
Napster.
provided.
Yeah, I used LimeWire all.
Oh man.
LimeWire or WinMX. Those are the two that I used. And then moved on to BitTorrent.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Torrents
used
were where it was
LimeWire
at.
for everything. I download all kinds of music,
Pirate Bay.
and then
all my music.
Love Pirate
Mixed
Bay.
CDs.
I remember having to record songs played on the radio
With your tape?
with my tape on the
Yes.
boombox.
I did the
I
same
used to
thing.
do that with my cell phone.
And you'd be pissed if you missed it because you didn't know when they were
Yeah.
coming. You're like,
Oh,
you're
man.
record. Now I'm gonna miss like
Like
the
I-
first second.
I got close enough. I know what song it is.
Because you'd hate to record too early and then get all the commercial crap.
Mhm.
And,
Or you grab the wrong tape.
yeah, record over something.
Oh. So mad.
Damn it, that was Grandma's last words.
The money's in the.
And the next big hit.
Yeah, no, I did that too. But when LimeWire came about and I learned how to use it, oh man, the amount of mixed CDs I made.
I
was
used to
unreal.
download songs on LimeWire with dial-up. I'll see you in
Yep.
2 days.
Yes. It would take forever. And then as soon as the computer started acting funny, I'd delete LimeWire, be like, Mom, the computer's not working, so she wouldn't know it was me.
LimeWire was so full of computer destruction.
Oh
Jesus.
man.
We had to have our music. I mean, everyone needed No Scrubs by TLC, okay?
I mean, that's when I started. I'd say probably late 90s is when I started copying CDs and stuff like that.
Yep.
CDs were expensive back
Oh,
then.
yes.
Holy
Go-
crap.
If you had a pack of blank CDs,
Uh-huh.
You were
You
the
made it.
cool
You
kid.
had
I
arrived.
I had a stack of 100, and
Yep.
they were gone within
Costco.
a couple weeks.
My dad
Yeah.
had one, and then he also had one of those things where you could make your own label for it.
Ooh, yeah, we didn't get that Sharpie.
Sharpies.
See, the music of the 90s for me, the early to mid 90s, not really my thing, but to me, music really came back around in the late 90s. That was my jam.
I'm not even going to talk about my music tastes in the 90s because it's terrible.
Well, I mean, 90s music was.
I mean, I found a list of songs that I was like,
Yeah,
oh
but
my god, I remember that song, and I still listen to that song. What's wrong with me?
I grew up as the rural country boy, over sheltered Christian kid.
Ah.
See,
no
and the reason-
Backstreet Boys for you.
See, the late
no.
90s for me, because that's when I hit high school. So that's when music was really like the center of everything.
Every high schooler just music is their life.
Yep.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
have songs
Oh, yeah.
for every mood.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
still do.
Well, yeah, and music is Dick Clark. Music is the soundtrack of your life. Like you can hear a song and it will put you back in that place.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. And that's probably another reason why I'm not a big fan of the early and mid 90s, because that wasn't a great period for me and my family. So that and just grunge. Oh, I was not a fan of grunge.
What?
I'm sorry.
You
not
didn't like
sorry.
Nirvana?
I did not particularly care for Nirvana, no. I know.
Did you even feel bad about Kurt Cobain?
No. Sorry, unpopular opinion. But I
He was
wasn't
murdered.
living. I was not living up here at the time.
Conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
Eventually.
no, I was not a big fan of that grunge
I will,
style.
I will say this. I did my freshman year at UW, and Seattle is a very depressing city.
Because it's always great.
Understatement.
like no
Rain's
joke.
340 days out of the year.
amount of rain they get, the amount of overcast. Now, I'm energized by the rain.
See, for me, when I lived over there, it wasn't so much the rain, because it's just this gray, drizzly,
Yeah.
misty. It doesn't actually rain. If it
Mhm.
produced copious amounts of droplets continuously, I'd be okay with that. But it's just
okay.
that
Yeah,
it's almost like living in London. It's just
mist.
and
Well,
cold.
you are on the ocean.
Mist. Moist mist.
Very.
mist that makes him moist. Oh yeah.
I
But
feel like that's going to be like a catchphrase now.
but the 2 months out of the year when it's not like that in July and August, it is beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous.
That's 3 episodes that the moist has made it in, by the way.
That's why I said it's going to become a catchphrase now.
I even do it around the house now.
Moist.
He does.
Moist.
Yeah, I'm trying to think favorite band from the 90s.
Big song from the 90s, Baby Got Back.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
song has
It's
stood
still
the
good.
test of time. It is used so many places.
Mm-hmm.
Who let the dogs out?
Yeah. Oh, the thong song?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
God.
Cisco. God, I forgot about
Every time
the
I hear
dog
that song now, I just remember that one episode of American Dad where
Sorry.
Roger's getting married.
So, thinking about dogs. Here. Bark, bark,
Roger's
bark,
getting
bark.
married.
And his wife or fiance, whatever, is walking down the aisle to like a wedding version of the thong song.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Let me see that thong.
It's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you had the Battle of the Boy Bands.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
NSYNC and Backstreet Boys.
Mhm.
98 Degrees, O-Town.
And all the other clones that followed them.
Absolutely,
Yes.
but the 2 biggest, of course, NSYNC
Right.
and Backstreet Boys. And it's funny, you would have divided parties in class too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
the NSYNC girls and the Backstreet Boys girls.
And it's
Yep.
just as bad as, Marvel versus DC.
Speaking of divisions, O.J. Simpson in the 90s. So I remember being
If the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
Yes. So I remember when the verdict came down, I was in junior high at the time, and the cafeteria, you had bleachers on both sides. And you had the guilty and the not guilty, one on each side. And people were starting to get really heated. And I remember the janitor came in.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, enough. This has nothing to do with you guys at your age. You are kids. Go out. Stop this. It doesn't affect you.
Oh.
Kind of a thing. Because people they were getting all upset about it. It's like,
Oh.
you're in junior high.
That motherfucker
Lots
did
of
it.
people got upset about it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
definitely a topic for another episode
Mhm.
too.
But yes, that was another big, that was one of the really large televised trials where you
Mhm.
could tune in
Oh, yeah.
every day like a soap opera.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Other things from the 90s you could tune into every day. Talk shows.
Oh, yeah.
I am so glad that my friend turned me on to Pluto TV because they have a section for just talk shows and judge shows and
Like Jenny
Jerry
Jones.
Springer.
And
and
just cops.
Geraldo and
Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown.
Maury.
Maury
Oh
Povich.
man,
Maury
I used to watch
Povich.
Maury
Yeah.
Povich all the
Maury
time.
was
Jerry
always my
Springer.
fave.
Yeah.
I didn't
I could
really
only
care for Jerry.
I could only get away with Jerry Springer if I was being babysat.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
I didn't.
If I was at grandma's house,
Uh-huh.
I could watch
It
Jerry
got to the
Springer.
That's
point
right.
where it was so obviously staged, but
Yes.
Maury, man, that baby mama drama.
Those are my favorites.
Yep.
You are not the father, and it's like,
I knew it. I fucking told you, Betcha. I told you.
Because he needs some diapers, he needs some Nikes.
Doesn't
he
even
needs
look like
some
me.
Formula,
Look at his eyes.
all the things.
They're not even my eyes.
the excuses that they would come with
Oh,
to
I
say
know,
that the
right?
kid didn't look like them, and you look at them like, dude, it's
your
yours.
kid.
It is so yours.
But
Your genetic material
It
just
could be
said
one of
copy
these
paste.
7 men.
and she's back today for the 43rd test.
I love the
Jesus.
returns though, where it's like, you've been on this show before. I've seen you, and this is a different episode.
Yep.
But you watch it for the fights.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was better than WWF.
Oh yeah.
Back when it was still
WWF.
WWF
Yep.
before it became
WWE. Thanks a lot, Wildlife Foundation.
But yeah, I mean, between that and the soap operas, the daytime soap operas.
Days of Our Lives.
Mm-hmm.
90210.
Sands to the Hourglass.
Oh, 90210.
Mm.
That was another big cultural thing because you had teenagers at the time when you were becoming a teenager doing
Mm.
teenager things.
Mhm.
Same with Dawson's Creek. I believe that was in the 90s.
That was in the
too.
late
Yep.
90s, yes. Teenagers doing teenager things when you yourself are becoming a teenager.
Mind blown. And another division thing that came up when you just talked about WWF NWO.
Yes.
You had that side and you had the WWF
Yep.
side.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The wrestling world in and of itself had, well, their entire mantra kind of revolves around division.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
You have to have something to fight about.
Mm-hmm.
True. There's always got to be something.
Mm-hmm.
90s were just, that was a crazy decade.
Definitely was a crazy
It was
decade.
a lawless
I'm thinking
wasteland
about
in
the,
fashion.
Oh,
All
we
the
don't-
action movies that came out of the 90s.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Tons.
Like
Seagal.
they had gotten their
Van
start and they had done their
Damme.
things in the 70s and 80s, but like when they really were their big ticket,
Oh,
big
yeah.
A-list items was the 90s.
The
Bruce
90s.
Willis.
The
Yeah.
Hoff.
Yeah. Gosh.
Yeah. David Hasselhoff. A lot of good stuff. Baywatch. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Pamela Anderson.
Going back to Scholastic book places where you could buy.
How do you go from Pam Am to
Because you could get posters of Pam Ann and Carmen Electra from the Scholastic Book Fair.
no way?
Oh, yeah. They
What
weren't
was
racy,
that?
but at my school you could.
I just remember book fairs having
Right?
books. I'm so confused
Like
by
caterpillars and
No, because you could buy
Dog
posters of,
stories.
cars and stuff, but they had they weren't as
Okay.
racy, but
okay.
I don't know any boy that did not have a crush on Carmen Electra.
Oh, she's
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I still have a crush on her.
this. Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
And with that, we're going to have to take a quick commercial break.
Towel. You need a towel.
I'd forgotten about Baywatch.
More like Babe Watch.
Yeah, nothing like softcore porn and primetime TV.
Right.
I mean, that's now. That's 100% now.
Yeah.
It's just they've become less transparent about it, or more transparent about it. OnlyFans.
True.
Yep. Rude truck.
Right?
Trying to do a thing here. Gosh.
We're doing stuff.
Dick!
We should come back on that.
Come back in. Dick! Perfect. Love it.
Yes.
That was good. Ba-la-la.
He was watching Big Hero 6 with
Uh-huh.
me today.
I love that movie.
Hell yeah. Hi, I'm Baymax.
It tears my heart open every time, and I love it.
I would live in San Francisco.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm. Yeah.
What about the lawless wasteland of fashion that was the 90s?
Ooh.
And they were
Right.
called trends.
Ooh.
I mean, I guess it was a trend because they did fade out, but damn.
Bright
And then,
colors.
and then some of them are coming
shapes.
back.
Mm.
Which I am proud that one of them's coming back. Jinko jeans. I love Jinko jeans.
No!
Yes.
Fuck no.
No, really?
No.
I had no concept of fashion at all.
I mean, who did?
Couldn't afford it.
Nobody in the 90s
That was it.
I got hand me down, whatever.
did. Me too.
Thrift store.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
where I thrift store. I didn't get Jinkos until I was in junior high, and I was lucky.
And that was another thing. So after I bought my TV, my next babysitting save up was for my first pair of Nikes.
Ooh.
And then they got stolen out of my gym locker 2 weeks later.
Oh, no!
That's
Because
why you don't get Nikes.
bought the Nikes, didn't buy the lock.
Well, that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Because priorities.
Speaking of shoes, platform everything. Platform sandals,
Oh, yeah.
platform sneakers,
Saltwater
platform boots,
shoes.
heels.
Yeah.
Saltwater sandals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't protect worth the damn.
Nope.
You know another great shoe? Heelys.
Oh, I had a pair
I
of those.
always
those.
wanted a pair of Heelys. I couldn't afford them. So I got the knockoff Kohl's version that had
Mm.
thick old platforms so the wheels could sit in there. Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Trying to remember if I had ever had any. Didn't wide-legged pants that were similar to bell bottoms come back in the late 90s?
The flares.
Flare.
Yep.
Yes.
Flares.
Flared bottoms,
You,
yeah.
you had to have your acid washed flare jeans to be cool.
Oh, Jesus.
I remember.
You had your
I
acid
remember.
wash jeans, your platform sandals, your butterfly hair clips in your hair.
Oh
Jesus.
my gosh, I never did that, but everybody, and I wanted to, I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to do the butterfly clip with the twisting thing, but I didn't, just out of spite.
Mhm.
Because everybody
I don't want to
to
be in the trend.
but I don't.
So I had to fact check. Heelys were out of the 90s. I could have swore it was in the late 90s, but it was not.
Aww.
Yep. Damn. Either way, still awesome.
Yes.
Got to keep this
Maintain.
date relevant.
Right.
Remember when everyone had overalls?
I'd still rock a pair of overalls. I love overalls.
I want a pair of overall shorts.
I wore overalls, but I never felt like they really looked that good on me.
No, I wasn't much of an overalls guy. Jeans, yes.
I just thought of my favorite band from
You
the
have your
90s.
Levi's.
Did you?
Bloodhound Gang.
Wranglers.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
Sorry, late with the thing. It just clicked in my mind. I was thinking, all right, I'm wearing overalls. I'm in the greenhouse. I'm in high school. What am I listening to? Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Oh yeah. I hope you die.
Love that song.
Brings peace to my soul.
Corduroy pants were in the 90s, too.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yep.
Yep.
Couldn't wear those.
They were my only fancy dress pants.
Thighs rubbed together.
Ah.
Yeah, I just don't like the texture.
I had a few pair.
Overall,
Mhm.
or,
They were
corduroy.
comfy.
I was more the velvet than the corduroy. I had a couple like
Did you have-
velvet skirts and because goth was kind of starting to hit big in the
Yeah.
late 90s. I had the corset. I'm gonna be honest. Totally left corset for a while.
I want a corset.
They're amazing. Not the real cool like vintage corsets. No. They were the Hot Topic ones.
Mm-hmm.
See, I want like an OG.
Whalebone.
Whalebone.
Gotta-
Crush your ribs.
suck
restrict
your shit in.
breathing,
Yep.
really make you hate your life, but god damn, I look good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hourglass figure.
Mm-hmm. Just someone dumped a couple extra hours of sand in the glass. That's all.
Remember windbreakers? Swish, swish, swish.
Oh,
I-
yeah. Sweatsuits.
Oh, God.
Sweat.
90s family portraits.
Oh,
man.
Oh.
Going into Sears.
Oh, no.
I think we did ours at JCPenney or
Yep.
Macy's. One of those
Always
two.
with the same goddamn background.
Yep.
Gray splotchy on gray.
Yep.
With one like neon pink and neon blue, some kind of beams
Uh-huh.
things.
Oh man.
What the fuck?
I think we had like a Christmas tree background. I think my brother, because he was still like a baby, was sitting with like a present or something.
Oh, why did you have to say that?
Ugh.
You're welcome.
Can we take a 10-minute trauma break, please?
No, this is pure
Oh.
nightmare fuel.
It totally is.
No.
You're sleeping on the couch tonight.
I sleep on the couch every night.
That's fair. Oh.
You're sleeping in the bed tonight.
Rape?
Wait, what?
Remember studded belts?
Yes.
Yes.
I would still have one if it still fit me.
Never
I
got
think
one.
it's in my box of shit that's in storage for when I
Mhm.
get
See, I
skinny
could never
again.
get any of the cool stuff because my parents' thing was we didn't have a lot of money for one, but two, it's
Mhm.
like you don't need it.
You don't need
Right,
it.
Yeah. Or like
Always.
I wasn't able to text. I didn't have a phone till my sophomore year of high school. I wasn't able to text. I think until like mid sophomore,
Mhm.
maybe junior year, because I don't need to be doing that at school. This
Yep.
and that and all that crap. So I'd
Yep.
eventually pay for it myself. But I never got the cool clothes.
Mhm.
We would text
You know,
each
none of
other
that
all
stuff.
the time.
Yep. I didn't even get a
You-
cell phone until I went to college, so.
Yeah, it was well after I graduated and started working before I got a cell phone. That was in the early thousands.
Mhm.
I got one of those Nokia bricks. Me and my brother both got one in like 7th or 8th grade. I think it was 8th grade for me, 7th grade for him. And we were only allowed to use it to call mom and dad, tell them when we're out of school because we were in like some after school programs.
And play Snake.
Yep.
Yes.
Then I remember, when we had 50 text messages for the month.
Ooh.
Me and my brother would be sitting right next to each other on the couch texting each other.
Uh-huh.
Because at this point, we didn't have a concept of texting other people.
Right.
So we would send each other text messages from across the couch.
Anybody do anything fun for leading up to Y2K? And the
Nope.
big
Nope.
scare.
Didn't care.
My family didn't panic.
Yeah,
We're
we
not
didn't either.
dumb.
So we didn't panic per se, but I do remember at midnight, Dad and I were still awake, and we went up and we checked the high school grounds just to double check all the equipment, make sure nothing had happened.
See, my father has a sense of humor, so he thought it'd be hilarious. We're all glued to the TV, watching the countdown, balls dropping. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pulls the circuit breaker on the house.
Oh.
Everything out. So we all had that like, ah! And also we just hear him laugh in the background. It's like, mother.
Total dad thing
Oh,
too.
yes.
That is awesome.
That is
Nice.
fucking hilarious.
Yep. Good times.
Yeah, we didn't do anything. Didn't prepare.
Yeah.
Didn't care.
Just gotta think about
Honestly, I
this.
think we had a party.
Yeah. We lived out in the country, so I mean, we were always prepared for
No power.
something. No power, snowed in,
Mhm.
whatever. But I mean, we didn't care.
Whatever was going to happen was going to happen.
It was an old 1950s farmhouse. It wasn't like it wasn't a smart home like we
Just-
have
It's
nowadays.
just the people that how much it was. Fear for sales. Really, how
Mhm.
much people bought
yeah.
shit. Holy crap.
Insurance.
Yep.
Oh,
Insurance.
What do you need insurance if the fucking world ends, dipshit?
You from the coding side,
Yeah.
how many people wrote programs? Oh, this will protect you against Y2K.
Mhm.
Install this.
Gotta make money.
Mhm.
movie Office Space.
Love it.
That was his job, is they had to go and convert
Yep.
everything over because
The
the
date
software
format.
didn't have anything
Yeah.
beyond
The year 2000.
year 2000.
Yep.
And can you believe? I mean, I get it. You're only going to leave so much room based on when the software came out, but now we have such advanced thought that we just make it to where it automatically adds, an amount.
Mhm.
Anything, everything, whatever we need.
Mm-hmm.
But from a coding side of things, I mean, how often do you? And this is a topic for another day. Planned obsolescence.
I mean, you can try and write it as future-proof as possible, but it is always going to become obsolete at
Exactly.
some point.
Exactly. So, I mean, at some point, did the original coders even think that their programs are still going to be used
That's true.
past the year 2000?
That's true.
Was the .com boom in the 90s?
Yeah, oh yeah, big
Oh,
time.
yes.
.com boom.
And the bubble burst.
Mm-hmm.
First
Bubble burst hard. That's why we have movies like Grandma's Boy.
Absolutely.
We
Love
talked
that
about last
movie.
time. You know?
One piece of technology that we didn't discuss: the coming of DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Was that in the
It was
90s?
97.
Oh,
It was 97.
okay. Yeah.
That was a wild concept. I remember when DVDs came out,
Mhm.
and of course they gave the same spiel that they did for CDs: not scratchable, indestructible, this and that. And it's like, BS.
Shit.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Fuck you, Mark.
Breathe on
Let's
it wrong.
put that to the test, shall we?
Yeah, DVDs. That was a wild concept
Mhm.
because
All
you
the-
were still rocking VHS.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. God, I felt like that came later, but
What was the other counter to the DVD? So I remember there was a split between DVDs and something else for a minute.
Are you sure you're not thinking of the Blu-ray and the 4K?
Well, Blu-ray was
Okay.
later, much
Mhm.
later.
Right.
But yeah, I vaguely remember there being something because I know there was.
It was like an HD format or some
Yeah, I don't remember.
some such other.
Because I know at the time of VHS there was still laser discs, and that never went anywhere.
Beta.
Beta was
Mhm.
before though. God, what was DVD's competitor? I could have swore there was one.
No idea.
DIVX.
DivX, yeah, I remember
Might have
that.
been.
But
It says in the late 90s, a format war
That was
erupted
a-
between DVD
that was
and
a
DivX.
codec.
yeah, or
I
at
don't
least
know if
is
it was-
now.
I don't know if it was necessarily a formatting type.
Mm.
The internet doesn't lie, man.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
No, everything on the internet is true and real and should be believed at all times.
The internet is really
Oh,
really
so
great
OJ did do it then.
for porn.
Oh.
You know that motherfucker did it.
Yeah, let's talk about porn in the 90s.
Porn in the 90s was fantastic.
It was fantastic.
And it took forever to load.
Oh, absolutely. If you were getting internet porn, yeah, you better fucking sit down for a
I'm
while.
gonna start downloading it in the morning by the
Start
time you get home from
downloading it.
school.
Yeah, but you still had like the magazines, and you could still,
Or you could get the actual pictures. You didn't get the actual videos.
No, it was just
Yeah,
That
pictures.
still
get
took
the-
forever to get to
You
the
could-
good
You
part.
could get the pictures, yeah.
Oh, yeah. But magazines, like you think about it now, such a dead concept.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I'm sure there's people out there that still prefer the magazines, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
There's still,
Playboys were huge in the. I
Oh,
mean, they were
yeah.
huge way before the 90s, but
Oh, yeah.
still.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody would always wait for the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition,
Uh-huh.
Victoria's Secret catalogs.
Yep.
All that spank bank material.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of skateboarding in the
Hmm.
90s and rollerblading.
Oh,
Tony Hawk.
Tony Hawk.
Bam Margera.
No.
no,
Margera was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
You weren't skating
Yeah,
in
it
the
was
90s?
later on.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
don't think so.
I think the big name that always comes to
Tony
mind.
Hawk.
Tony Hawk. I
Or
love
if
that
you
he's
were.
making a comeback in
Yeah.
his own special way.
I know
And,
he's on TikTok now.
Mm-hmm.
and if you're in the other realm, there was Dave Mira. He was the BMX god. He was the Tony Hawk of the bike world.
Extreme sports
Yeah.
Yep.
really
X
kind of
Games.
kicked off in the 90s.
Yep.
Extreme sports for kids. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Yes.
MTV.
When they actually had music on TV.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That was when they started branching out and started partnering, because it was all marketing. They
Right.
started partnering and sponsoring a lot of those more extreme type events, the BMXing and the skateboarding.
And now
whatnot.
MTV's nothing but reality TV, and not even good
Yeah.
reality
Why
TV.
did they call
Awful.
it music
It
television?
all blended
anymore?
together. It all blended together after a while.
Yeah, but now you can't. Do they even make? Do artists still make music videos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just all
Watch
on
them all the
YouTube
time.
They're
now.
all on YouTube now.
Ah,
A great toy from the 90s. Tech Deck.
Yes. Little fingerboards.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't
Wow.
cool enough for those.
I don't even know what that
I had to get
is.
knockoff.
It's-
They're
it's
little
a
mini
little mini
skateboarders for your
skateboard.
fingers. People
Yeah.
were so good at those. And you could buy like deck stairs
Oh,
and
yeah.
rails
Oh,
and stuff.
yeah.
It was
They had
wild.
commercials for them all
Little
over
tiny
the
screwdrivers,
place.
so you could change out
The
your
wheels.
wheels.
Yep, you can change the trucks. Yeah, it was wild.
You could buy new boards.
I feel so lost right now.
Oh yeah.
Never heard
Here,
of this.
here, let me look
Too
at
rich
you.
for my blood.
Yeah, I got knockoff ones because we
Mhm.
couldn't get the real ones.
Dollar store versions.
Yep. One of the craziest
They
toys.
sell them at Walmart still.
Oh yeah, they can still get them.
Yeah, see, it's a little itty bitty skateboard.
Okay, yeah. I never understood the point.
One of the craziest toys from the 90s that sparked like the hugest uproar, Tickle Me Elmo.
Oh yeah.
My brother had one and trying to get a
Those things
hold
are
of that
creepy.
thing was
Yeah.
fucking impossible.
People were killing
They
people.
really,
There
really
was-
wanted that toy.
They eventually
them.
ended up making like a comedy movie with Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jingle All the Way.
Uh-huh.
Turbo Man.
Yeah. Now it was based around that.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of craze.
With Sinbad.
It's the last movie I remember seeing Sinbad in.
You know, it's that retail
And
shopping.
Phil Hartman.
Retail was the only way to get any of the things, and
Mm-hmm.
those holidays come around, and
Mhm.
if you disappointed your kids, you were the worst
Yeah.
parent.
I remember when the PlayStation came out, you know, we scoured everywhere for one. It was around
Mhm.
Christmas time. We
Mhm.
found Best Buy that had it. It was fucking packed.
Yeah.
We got one though, but that's just one of those
Yeah.
things that stood the test of time. If not, it's super worse now. You got people camping out weeks
Oh,
in
yeah.
advance for Black Friday. And
We just
toy
order
releases.
online.
If you had said that 2 years ago, I might have agreed. But after last year,
That's true.
things have changed.
Well, and now you know, can you get PS5s yet?
His
If you can
brother just
find
got
Brother
one.
did.
You can
He
if
won
you
a
can find
lottery.
them. But I still know people that go to midnight releases and camp
Yeah,
out and stuff. There's people camping out in San Francisco right now to get NVIDIA graphics cards.
Jesus.
They've been out for like
He's
3
really
days now, waiting.
Jesus.
There's
That-
tents and everything.
I mean, I've done midnight releases for like Fallout 4 and some other
Yeah,
games and whatnot.
course.
But I mean, anymore nowadays, one, I don't have the fucking time or energy. And two, it's not even worth it.
Yeah, just to say you have it first.
It
Or
used to be.
or in the game world, you got to download the day one patch.
Yeah.
which is like 5 hours long.
I never really did I didn't do any game midnight releases, but I did go to a couple midnight
Movies.
Those are fun.
releases.
Those
Yeah.
are
Lord
fun.
of the Rings.
Mhm.
That was the one I remember actually going to a midnight showing of.
One ring to rule
Mhm.
them all.
Because it was so cool.
Every once in a while, like in the holidays or the late fall, they would do like a Star Wars midnight showing.
Mhm.
I've never even seen Lord of the Rings. I fell asleep 10 minutes.
Shame.
Did the Star Wars prequels come out in the 90s? 90s?
Phantom
I feel like
Menace.
Phantom Menace, yeah, it did because the 64 came out in the 90s and they had that
Phantom
edition
Menace.
64 because I had the
Yep.
pod racing edition one. It was
Yep.
black.
That was a terrible game.
Wasn't it? The controls are so bad.
Absolute shit.
I still
game.
play it.
Fuck. GoldenEye, on the other hand.
Oh.
Legendary.
So I was at a pawn shop in Oregon about 7-8 years ago, and I found GoldenEye on the 64. And I was so excited. They had it for $3.
Wow.
I was not gonna
Buy it,
argue.
buy it,
I
buy
was
it.
not gonna question.
Fuck yeah.
Bought it, right? Get home, bust out the 64, so excited, playing it. I got so nauseous. My head hurt so bad. I had
It's
to
the
put it
movements
down.
Uh-huh.
You know, when when it first came out, that was what we did. You play our game for hours upon hours upon hours and not even flinch.
Yep.
I played it for like half an hour and I was like, I'm done.
You're so used to that
I'm like-
smooth frame rate, that nice 60 FPS.
Oh
Nope.
Yeah.
man, I was so nauseous. I felt like I was on a ship. I was like, where's my drowning?
Polygons, bitch.
Yeah, polygons. Fucking golden gun. One shot, one kill.
Fuck no. Slappers only. No odd job.
No odd job. Fuck odd
Slappers
job.
only. No odd job.
That game was awesome.
That
That was probably my
amazing.
favorite.
Domino's Pizza, 2-liter Mountain Dew, and Nintendo 64.
Cool Ranch
Could still do that
Doritos.
now.
Ooh.
Jones soda.
Or if you were cool like we were, Unreal Tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could get one disc and install it on every computer
Yep.
because it was a no CD run. And it didn't require a CD key.
Oh.
So you could install a copy. As long as you had a CD, you could install a copy on whatever computers you wanted. It was a full version of the game, completely unlocked. But it was also one of the first games that was moddable,
Mm.
where the community could actually make more content for it.
That's awesome.
And then it worked because, the internet was still getting started. It was all local area network.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be times where we would do like 24 hours. We would just pick a Saturday and we would go bell to bell and do a 24-hour run of just gaming and gaming and gaming on a local area network. It was fantastic.
I
That's
would
awesome.
give to have nothing better to do nowadays than to do stuff like that. 'Cause back then you did.
Right.
Oh.
I know.
Now I'm like, I need my sleep.
I gotta cook. I gotta clean the litter
Go to
box.
work.
I gotta give insulin shots. I
I
gotta,
got to
Job.
adults.
Right?
I gotta change my diaper.
Another great game from the 90s, Command and Conquer.
Ooh, yes.
Those were just
Yes.
revolutionary PC games.
Command and Conquer. Oh, GDI versus Nod.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We go along with that one. StarCraft.
Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Yeah. OG StarCraft.
Yeah.
The Zerg Rush. That was a fantastic game. Ideology fans, do you want to be on Ideology? Have a topic you want to hear us rant about? Drop us a comment on your favorite social platform or visit ideologypodcast.com.